I didn't time that one very well.
You timed that perfectly, Vince.
That was terrible timing. Hey, everyone. We are once again back for another episode of Analysts After Work. My guest today needs no introduction. He is when you ask ChatGPT who are the thought leaders in the business analysis space, one name inevitably always appears, Mr. Adrian Reed, all the way from Portsmouth. Adrian, what's going on, my friend?
Yeah, well, no, I'm good. I've had a really long day, and it's really, really good to be here. And another great thing, and one of the many things I love about you, Vince, is
Yes.
you know I live in Portsmouth. I have been introduced as Adrian from London so many times by people.
Okay.
So I'm really pleased that you know I don't live in London, which is good.
Well, I mean, like I get it. It's the reason why when I'm abroad, I introduce myself as Vince from Toronto. I'm not from Toronto. I mean, I am. I was born in Toronto proper, but I don't live in Toronto now. But now I also have the benefit of having followed European football, so
Okay.
that this is how I know cities and like the rough geography of the at least the four major leagues, right? The English Premier League, the Italian Serie A, Spanish La Liga, and then you've got a bit of an argument between who's the fourth. Is it Germany? Is it France? This is how I know geography, though. It's because of
Through
soccer.
through soccer. That's
through
amazing.
through
I live
proper
really
football.
I live really near a football ground. I don't follow football, but we have had to have a thicker front door fitted because sometimes the fans are so noisy in the street near where we live. So
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean the local stadium is right downtown for us. Well, sorry, not right downtown. It's on our old exhibition grounds, and so every year they're and that's where like the Toronto Mounted Police have their head office or their headquarters. Um, but I mean, it was used as the grounds for the Canadian National Exhibition, which only runs 2 weeks a year, and other than that, like not really used. So that's where they put our football ground. I do have season tickets for that, and actually, there's a game on Saturday. I get to go see Leo Messi. I'm very excited. So
and for anyone just tuning in, this is Match of the Day, hosted with
yep,
Vince and Adrian.
yeah, match of the day. Now, I mean, I think the last time. I want to say the last time you were in town, I asked if you wanted to go to a game, and you were like, "No, I'm not interested."
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
So that tracks. And you know what? All good. Like I don't care. I said this. I asked the same when Fabrizio was in town. I'm like, "Hey, do you wanna go to a match?" He's like, "I don't like soccer." Like, but you're Brazilian. It's like it's got to be indoctrinated into you as a young child. So, yeah, I don't like soccer. So
Wow.
I did convince Philip to come with me though. So Philip and I went to a game with Hans Ekman and friend of the show and friend to all Hans Ekman and my brother-in-law. So yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, match of the day. You'll notice, folks, for those that are joining, and I see you, Steve, Brienne, Mindy, welcome as always. Appreciate y'all being here. Um, Adrian and I we could probably fill an hour just talking about random stuff, as I think we've just proven.
We probably will.
We probably will. But you sent me a list of things today that I'm like, oh, this is going to be the easiest. This is going to be the easiest hour to fill in maybe the history of this show.
Okay.
And I'll say, like, one thing that I had planned. This past Tuesday we had, so I'm much like you, and I was going to pick your brain on being president of an IABA chapter, which would
no,
no, we're not gonna do that. But I thought we had our AGM on Tuesday, and we spent the first like 5 or 10 minutes debating who was the best Batman, who was the best Joker. Like we were just like going through movie history of who was the best, who played the best role. So I was like,
well, so I think about Batman. I'm not a huge Batman fan,
okay.
and I was in a situation where someone was like, "Oh, who's the actor that played Batman?" Right, and my mind just said Adam West, and which is true, right? But
it is true.
That's not certainly not. Like, I think they were thinking of like Val Kilmer or something. But like, yeah, it's like
So, but Adam West did get a vote in the discussion. So Jared was like Adam West. Adam West is the best Batman. You know, respectfully disagree, but everyone has their opinion.
Such a Canadian
right?
thing to say. Respectful disagree. That's like...
Well, what am I going to say? You're wrong. Like it's your perspective. It's your opinion. How am I going to tell you your opinion is wrong? Except on things like pineapple on pizza and pumpkin.
Oh no,
spice
we're not doing
latte.
that again. I can't do that. I can't.
No,
do
we're
this
not.
again.
We're not
You're
going
wrong.
to. We're not going to. We're not going to. I'm saying this is what we were gonna talk about because, and so we've got and Steve. These were my choices as well. I did give some love to Val Kilmer. I think Val Kilmer was a solid Batman. I think Christian Bale was a good Batman. I think, I hate to say it, Ben Affleck is a good old Batman. And yes, Heath Ledger also got some love in the discussion, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to go in a bit of a messed up order based on the list you sent me.
Before you do that,
yes.
Before you do that, I want to give a shout out to someone who almost certainly isn't watching because it's 10 p.m. here. Oh, I haven't got the book to hand. Yes, I have.
Oh,
so
I know where this is going.
Right, Christina Lovelock. This book was highly commended in the Business Book Awards. It's a UK annual event. It was in a particular category, and literally in that category there was a winner and highly commended of the 20 or however many books that got shortlisted of the however many hundreds or thousands that entered. I don't know. But Christina Lovelock was highly commended, which is awesome, thoroughly deserved. And I just wanted to give a shout out to her because she is awesome. I also want to start a hashtag.
Okay.
Because you're in Toronto. We know that there's also a PMBA World in Toronto. I think I probably should have asked Tina before I say this. We should have Tina for Toronto as a hashtag and get Amy. Make Amy get Tina over.
Okay, well, I mean, let me see if I can get that set up for you.
I really hope she's.
By
the way, I've got a bit of a cold, so if I sound husky, it's because I am.
Okay, you're good, man. Tina for Toronto. There it is. There it is. So we're gonna let that run for a little bit. Okay, so we've got a few topics that you sent. Let's get the boring one out of the way.
Okay.
And I mean the boring one because I wasn't there. Let's talk about BA. BA Europe was last week.
Yep.
You are a staple there. What was the conference like this year?
So it was amazing, as it always is. And I mean, it's no serendipity, Vince.
You know that we had to bring that up at least once. I know Steve. Otherwise, Steve was going to ask. Steve Jones was going to ask.
So yeah. So no, it was amazing. Always really, really vibrant. We were running a stand promoting BA Digest, and there was lots of interest in that, which was good. And what was interesting was so Matt, my husband, was like manning the stand. And he said that actually about 25% of people were already aware of BA Digest, which doesn't sound a lot, but actually in a community of BAs, that's pretty good. And yeah, and it was really vibrant. And obviously, as you know, Vince, at these conferences, it's as much about the conversations in between the sessions. We've had that conversation so many times, and I know you find that too. And the conversations at the bar. I think there's a lot of conversation about AI, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I think that there are different views emerging as to what that means for the BA community, and that's interesting. And yeah, so it's just a really vibrant few days in London.
That so that's amazing. I did see some of the clips. I know Fabricio was posting stuff. I saw that the actual conference itself was posting stuff. I saw your setup as well with Matt. Um, I always like I've always said I would love to get back there, and to just historically the timing hasn't worked. The last time I was there was in 2018, and
Didn't ghosted you or something?
You did actually.
I'm
You did
so
ghost me.
sorry.
We can talk about that story too. I wasn't going to bring that up, but we can talk about that too. So because you know what, let's just do it right now. So because we had never met in person at that point, but we had communicated through Twitter, and you know, after your session, I came to your session where you did some magic, and if you like magic, it was great. If you didn't like magic, yeah. But came up, introduced myself, and then you were like, "Oh, cool, yeah, let's talk at the reception after the conference." And so, you know, I was at the reception hanging out, I was talking to people. I guess you left or you whatever. And so I messaged you, and you're like, "Yeah, let's meet up after the reception." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let me know." And then I ended up watching the Carabao Cup in my hotel room. And this is not like, you know, wah for me, but because I went to Pret à Manger and grabbed some food, because food is expensive in London. And
manging is expensive in London.
Yeah. I was staying. I mean,
particularly at Pret a Manger.
No, it was the cheapest place. I think I paid like £8 for, you know, like a wrap, a little dessert, and some Coke or something. But I started going out for dinner and like doing the math. I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah, it's crazy.
20 pounds. This is not $20 for, you know, a calzone. This is 20 pounds. It's like $40. So
London's crazy. I feel like we should stop the ticker now. I feel like I've.
Is it enough? Okay, I was happy to let it run. But you know, the thing that struck me the most at that conference was just I thought it was really cool standing there during the reception and hearing, you know, the English and the various accents of English, right? But also there was folks speaking French, folks speaking Italian, Spanish, Dutch. Like it was amazing. Flemish, like it was just so, and that's something I don't get at a lot of conferences.
Yeah. So first of all, and I know I've already apologized for this, but sorry for blanking you.
It was like 7 years ago. You're good.
But it is just like, you know, and this is another thing that there were people I was trying to catch up with this year, and like we've emailed each other since saying, well, we just didn't get a chance because there's like there's all these other, and that's one thing I've learned now is when someone says, oh, let's catch up at the conference, I'm like, well, we either need to set a time and a place, or it's not, you know, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right about the different languages, and you know, it's sort of pan-European and, well, I mean, global, because Fabricio was there, so you know, representation from Brazil, South America, and all over the place. So yeah, it is good fun. You should definitely get back over.
My plan, because I kept saying that this was going to be my retirement tour. I was going to like take a break and work on some other things.
Yeah, I keep thinking that too about myself.
I said I was going to do that because, like, you know, leading a chapter now is a lot, and you know, it's a lot. So but I think what I'm going to do next year is prioritize some of the international spots, and so, you know, it means that folks in Boston and in Miami and in, you know, LA, you're not going to get me, and that's okay, because, you know, you don't need me every year. But I've already had a few conversations with, you know, with the aforementioned Philip about, you know, joining his BA and Beyond, the up and coming BA and Beyond. Yeah, that's for you, Philip. But you know, that I would love to. I mean, I seriously considered and and talk to Ryan Polster
Yeah,
about BA
yeah.
Summit. It just didn't work, and that was like 2 years ago. That didn't work. Like I'd love to. Hopefully, I haven't burned that bridge and I get to go back. But
Oh, I'm sure not. And BA and
yeah,
Beyond is awesome. BA Summit, and well, I think it's technically BA Summit Southern Africa because it's in South Africa, but folks from
yeah,
the south of Africa go. Yeah, all awesome conferences.
yeah. And so that's my plan for next year is just to give a little bit of love to the rest of the world, and I mean, hopefully get a little bit of love back. But I would love to be back in London for BA Europe. I think that's it's on my list. It's on my list. So good conference. Hopefully, yeah. Jen knows. Jen knows. So I mean, good conference, and hopefully it was a positive experience from a personal, but also from a business perspective, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's got to work out too.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because a lot of the things I know you know this, but like a lot of the things I do are not overtly commercial, and it
No.
was really about promoting BA Digest, which is largely a community resource. But yeah, there's always a little bit of a commercial side to it. But although what I did, and it's yes, fulfilling personally, professionally, potentially commercially. But what I also got is like, I don't know if this is a phrase outside of the UK, but like I got like freshers flu, right? Which is like
Okay.
when people in university come together or like college and they're like freshers, and then all of the flu and colds get mixed together because there are hundreds of people in a conference hall. I came back and I was like, so I've still got a bit of that now actually. But that's the inevitable thing about conferences is like they are like super spreading events, unfortunately. So
they have the potential. They have the potential for that. So yeah, I mean, not to, and again, Steve, we're going to give people some false hope here, but I mean, not, when you and I put together Serendipity
too.
Are we going to talk Serendipity?
No.
When we put together Serendipity, that was an expressed objective, was it wasn't, we don't want this to be commercially viable. That just wasn't the objective, right? It was truly a community. It was for the community, and we had like 1,000 people.
It was crazy. It was amazing, and I think there's room for that. And I think there is room for different formats, different, more co-creation, more unconference, more open space, more just chaos, like organized chaos.
There it is.
And there, that's not to say there isn't a space for the polished conferences, because they're awesome. I enjoy them, but like also I kind of want to. I think there's like I think there's something that I would want to go to that's a bit more chaotic, and I kind of think I'm probably not the only one. And so others have conversations about these things from time to time, but then it's like, yeah, but we've also got these hundreds of other things that we're doing. So it's like, maybe one day.
I mean, I'm going to take that maybe away. One day, it is going to happen. And whatever it's called, and whatever format it takes, it's going to happen. And yeah, I've had conversations where it was like, who we need to loop into this? We need to bring Adrian into this conversation, because I think so. But again, everyone's busy, right? Like so. So there you go. Okay, well, fantastic. BA Europe, as successful as always. For me, BA Europe kicks off the fall conference season. At least that's the way I think of it. And so, this Friday, tomorrow, I guess, there's a big virtual conference happening with a number of different chapters, IIBA chapters. I am fortunate enough, is being put together by David Barrett, who a lot of us know.
Okay.
And David put a panel together with myself, Angela Wick, and Barb Carpenard, and we had our like meet and greet the other day, and it already got pretty heated. So It's going to be a lot of fun. But then, we've got Boston. We've got Boston with Amy's conference. I'll be in Vancouver, and and this is me taking it easy this year.
Yeah.
I've only got 4 conferences. I'm taking it easy.
Yeah, 4 conferences and an IIBA chapter and a
day job. Yeah.
And having a life outside of it.
That I've had to sacrifice.
Yeah.
That part of it is.
Sorry, family. No, that's not happening anymore.
No time. Sorry, kids. We can't go to the movies. Dad has to write bylaws. All right. BA Europe as a topic covered. The next one I want to come to, and this is just in order of reverse order of which ones entertained me the most. Lord Adrian Reed. Let's talk about this one. Like, what is this like? Do you know Jimmy Godard from Portland? Not Portsmouth.
I've never met in person, but yeah, yeah.
So Jimmy, we were in Boston, and we were in a group, and Jimmy told us that he was descended from Ugandan royalty, and that the title of Bachinga. And so myself and Dan Simon, who's been on the show, we look at each other, we're like, is this guy for real? But Jimmy is descended from Ugandan royalty. Is this a similar? So let's talk about Lord Adrian Reed. How does this happen?
So it's less impressive than it sounds, but yeah, I can allegedly use the title Lord Reed. So I warned you that some of these topics will be not safe for work, Vince, right? You know that,
point.
Right?
That's the point of this show.
So I don't know about you. This is gonna go in a really weird direction. You're just gonna have to go with me, okay? You're gonna have to go with me on this. So I don't know about you, Vince, but at school, when I was at school, a fairly common insult for boys to say to other boys was "you're gay," right? That was just a thing back then. That was an insult, right? Now, I was called that a lot, not because I was gay. I mean, I am. It's not like I'm sudden. Anyway, I still am. But this isn't my coming out as straight moment,
right?
But no. But so that was so. And there was this weird phrase that I never really understood of like gay lord. People would call you a gay lord, right?
Yes, I've heard that one.
Yeah, right. And so me and some friends got called this a lot, and funny, and we just kind of lent into it. And there was this corner where we used to sit, and we called it the gay corner. Now, unbeknown to us at the time, a lot of us, or a bunch of us, did turn out to be gay, including a bit of a sad story. Well, I mean, it was a happy story in the end, but remembering of the times, one of my friends who had to basically continue to live, to pretend it because he wants to go into the military, because that's the era we were living in back then. He's now married, and and it's all good. But anyway, so fast forward to my 40th birthday. I'm opening a present from one of my really, really good friends, Steve, who I've known for years, who's also gay. I've known him since school. And it's you can buy a title, right? And he bought me the title of Lord. Now it's really tenuous, right? It's a bit like owning a plot of, you can like own a plot of land on the moon,
right?
Those kind of things. What it is theoretically, if you own land in Scotland, you can use the honorific Lord. So you have companies that will sell you a square inch of land,
yes,
and confer on you the honorific title. So it's not like I can go to the House of Lords, but the honorific title Lord. Anyway, so he gave me this, and he's like, "See, you really are a gay lord."
That's tremendous.
I know.
That's tremendous. So I'm not gonna lie. I have no other than being Canadian, and we're still part of the monarchy technically. I have no ties to the British Crown, and yet even I was like, man, I could buy a square meter in Scotland and be a lord, and but you actually you did it.
not. Well, no,
No,
I
I know
didn't.
it's fake. I know it's fake.
You could just be like, you could buy a square inch of land on the moon and be cosmonaut or astronaut Vince. It's
But that's amazing. I mean, you know what? First of all, I will say that's a pretty thoughtful gift. And 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 I mean, so there's that, right? It's a pretty thoughtful gift.
it is.
Second, that friend Steve, he played the long game.
He did
Because
play the
that's a
long game.
joke. That's a joke. 35, 30 years in the making. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
done. Well done, Steve. But I mean, so you could put that, you could technically, like, we could put a hashtag like Lord Reed for Toronto or something like that.
Please, no, stop, no.
Listen, you open the door. I'm just once you've opened Pandora's box, the spirits aren't going back in the box.
The other present I got for my 40th birthday, and I know what a lot of people watching are thinking. They're thinking, but we thought you're only about 25, Adrian. But no, I'm seriously over 40. I'm sure no one was thinking that. But they got me a newspaper from the year I was born, an actual newspaper from from the day I was born, and that was fascinating. But mainly for the ads, and also it was a proper old broadsheet, like huge broadsheet with the like the ink that comes off on your hands, and that was interesting.
Okay, so what was going on the day that you were born?
So, God, there were a lot of so it was like it was one of the you know how there are newspapers that are more serious and some that are a bit more tabloidy.
Yes,
it was a bit more tabloidy, and there were lots. This is not a lie. A lot of stories about Prince Andrew, and you're kind of like, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll move on to the third thing then.
Yeah, I think we should move on from there.
Because this is being broadcast over the interwebs, and we can't control the geography with which our viewers. I know Mindy's here, and she's on that part of the board, on that side of the border. I don't want to go there. I do, but I don't want to. Not on a live stream. That's amazing. That's and congratulations on turning 40. Welcome to the club.
Some time ago.
I mean, me too, but like, welcome to the club. It sucks sometimes. It's okay at other times. But nobody asks you for ID anymore. It's really depressing.
Well, however, you say that. I mean, no one's asked me for ID for a while, but I was at a music festival and I was at the bar. And the bar tender said, "Oh, there's a guy over there who thinks he went to school with you." I said, "Oh, really?" And this is like it's a big music festival in Portsmouth called Victorious, and I just looked round, and the guy can't have been more than 20. And I was like, I just went, I think that's highly unlikely. But so maybe under the dimly lit lights of a festival, I can pass as like 21. I mean, I was thinking I've got T-shirts older than that person,
But maybe it was a pickup line. Like maybe it was trying to make a move, and you just didn't bite.
Well, that's possible.
Like I mean, it could have been. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been.
There are just so many responses to that, which are I'm not going there.
No, don't. But I'm just saying, like, it could have been. Like, he doesn't know your situation, like, and it's like on Seinfeld with the guy that kept making bad bets, so that he was like, the prize was, I'm going to take you out for dinner. He's like, the bet was like Dustin Hoffman was in Star Wars. Or Richard Nixon's middle name was Mo. Yeah, of course. And so it's like he makes bets that he knows he's not going to win. So it's like, oh, I guess I have to take you out for dinner now. Pick you up at 8. and like, wait, is this a date? Like, oh, okay. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
that's not true.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But
No.
Jen, you're not there either. Come on now. Um, all right. So, Lord Reed, let's, with your permission, let's move on to what I think is probably the juiciest of the three topics that you sent, and I'm very intrigued. Uh, you are working on a comedy act.
Yes.
What? What?
Well, Vince, you more than anyone should know that I am hilarious,
Yes.
and I just thought I'm doing a disservice to the world if I don't let that hilariousness go get a more broad audience.
So this is like dead serious.
Yeah, well, so yes and no. It's not like I actually want to. Well, so I just want to. I've had. So my mind comes up with hilarious things to say that in most situations I can't actually say.
Okay.
Right. So I'll be in a meeting and I'll be thinking a really witty, hilarious thing to say, which would not be, which just wouldn't work in the circumstances. It would probably
Right.
get me fired.
You'd be
Thrown out.
escorted out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought, okay, this is interesting. And I started to look back on, well, particularly growing up in the 80s and 90s, when you look back on some things, you think, actually, that was quite hilarious. You look at that in today's lens, you can just talk about it and it just sounds hilarious. And so my plan is to put essentially test bits of it at probably some kind of open mic night to see if I'm actually funny, because I joke about being hilarious, right? I just to me I am, but then everyone is to themselves, right? That doesn't matter. It's about whether other people find you funny,
right?
But also, I don't know. It's just like you get up on stage. A keynote is a performance. You will have made people laugh. I know I've made people laugh on stage. That's a different thing to comedy. But I just kind of want to do it for the experience, really. But yeah, so I say writing. I'm toying around. It'll need a lot of polishing. Probably I'll do. I'll test a 5-minute segment and see how that goes, and then take it from there, really. I mean, surely you've thought about doing comedy, Vince.
I have not. Not in any serious way as an adult. Growing up, like I wanted to be on SNL.
Yeah.
Right. That was like that's what I wanted to, and I realized I'm not that funny. But I do now get people coming, like when I do a keynote, and folks, if you're out there and you're looking for a keynote that's hilarious, you should hire me. But I'll do a keynote and people are like, you're funny, you should do stand up. I'm like, I don't
It's
think
different.
it's very different. I don't think I'm that funny.
Yeah, I mean, it is different. I would imagine. I've seen a lot of live stand up. I really enjoy it, and I think I just think it'll be a fun thing to try. And
nothing ventured, nothing gained. Like I think you have to. You're coming. Wait, I don't know.
There was some comedy there.
Was there? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I think stand up is different than what I would probably be better at. Like I've had somebody come up to me after a keynote. They're like, "You remind us of Vince Vaughn." I'm like, that's a compliment. I'll take that one, because Vince Vaughn has that very like, it's very dry wit, right?
Yeah.
And if there's one thing the British have given the world, in addition to the many things, but it's dry, like it's that dry wit. It's amazing.
And the thing is, one thing I've found, and I think there are lots of reasons for this, but I can completely poker face just about any situation. right? So I can deliver a ridiculous line with a straight face. Now, part of this comes from working being parachuted into projects where everything around you is ridiculous, and you're like, am I the only one? Like, how can I be the only one that sees this? And you're like in a room, and there's, like the expression "elephant in the room" type of thing, right? There's not just one. There's a freaking herd of elephants, and you're like, just me? Oh, just me that can see that then, right? So I've got to try and function as a human being while there's a fire over there, and there's someone whose idea of putting the fire out is to collect the fire and put it with all the other fires, right?
Right.
And so you have to kind of go, okay, I can see we've got some issues here, and you have to use the corporate suboptimal. It's suboptimal,
Yeah.
and so I kind of figure, well, maybe I can just tell jokes like that. Maybe then I won't have to go into situations like that. Maybe then I'll be on SNL. I mean, I won't. That's not the aim, really.
But you like that ability to be the funny straight man, right? Like the one that feeds the jokes, or that has that one-liner that's just devastating. Like,
yeah,
there's a skill to that.
Well, it's preparation, right?
Right.
It's like I always say when I go on stage, nothing's an accident, and Fabrizio, I agree, right?
Yeah.
But everything spontaneous I've ever done has been planned on stage. Nothing is spontaneous for me on stage.
Really?
Yes.
So I go the other way.
Yeah, I know you do. That's how we differ.
Right. I go completely the other way. I remember I did a keynote in Vancouver, and it was probably like the second keynote I ever did, and this is at one of Amy's conferences. And afterwards, I end up running into Hans, and I'm like, Hans Ekman, and I'm like, do you have any feedback? And he's like, do you really want to hear it? And I knew, oh, I'm in trouble now. And he broke everything down for the whole keynote. But one thing that he said that really stuck with me was, stop trying to be funny. When you plan a joke, it always falls flat. He's like, you're funny. Just be funny, and don't plan it. Right. So being improvisational works for me.
So improv is one part, right? So and it's kind of interesting, right? Because you can have forks, you can have planned forks where if someone,
sure.
so you might ask someone, and then you're expecting one of three outcomes, and you're going to riff on one of those three parts of the fork. Improv is one thing, and there will be elements of improv and stuff I do, because you never really know how you're reacting to audience. To how the audience reacts to how you react, and so on. But no, but I say prepared. I've never been able to script, which means I just say it out loud. So I've usually, like, when it comes to a presentation, I'll have said it out loud and done rehearsals 20 plus times generally, which is not the best way to do it. It's a ridiculous way of doing it, but it's how I do
it. It's what you need to do to get it done, and that's fair. Right?
I have to know it so well I can forget it, right? Like, the slides can go wrong, don't know. I can do it on automatic,
Right.
And I'll have thought through all sorts of, like, well, what if I need to shave 5 minutes off because whatever? Yep, these are the bits I'm going to shave. So it's like when I was giving a keynote at Minneapolis pre-pandemic, fire alarm goes off, like in the middle of the keynote, and I just kind of turn to the sound person and say, "Are we evacuating?" No. Then we were. But then because I knew it was just like, well, okay, this is, I hadn't planned for a fire drill, but I knew what I needed to do if I needed to cut some time, because I don't want to be, out of respect for the audience and the value I want to make sure I give them, I don't want to be making that decision there. I want to have already made, like, all the decisions are made, other than the spontaneous ones, which you respond to. For me, all the key decisions are made. That's part of my prep. Not everyone works like that. There are other great speakers who work differently. That's just me. And that's how I would approach the comedy too, which is, it looks spontaneous. And ironically, I find for me, the way of, like, there's a skill in making it look like the first time making it look like it's the first time is a skill.
100%. Like, there's things that I do on stage that, like one thing I love to do is the Dave Chappelle slap the mic on his, like, he would slap his lap with his microphone and just bend over and he's laughing to himself. I do that as a way of buying time. Like, I'm trying to think of what's the next thing I want to say, and so I'll say something intentionally that I know is going to give me the ability to do that, so that I buy myself 5 seconds to think of what's the next thing I needed to talk about again. Oh yeah, and then I come back and we're just revealing all of the tricks, but everybody's different, right?
We
Like,
are.
but that's what, when folks hire, and this, like, I always have this discussion with folks that are looking for keynotes, or even within the keynote circle. It's like, this is what you're actually paying for
Yeah,
and getting, is this experience and this expertise,
absolutely.
because a keynote is very different than a track session,
Yes.
right? And making that transition is really difficult. So when you are hiring a keynote, you're getting this level of prep. It's not, you're not paying for 1 hour. Like, yes,
Absolutely.
they're up there speaking for 1 hour, but you're getting, all of that preparation. You're getting, perhaps their promotion. You're getting them for, like, it's not like they can, it's not like joining a Zoom where you just pop in and pop out, right? Like, you're getting them for, a day at least, and plus any travel if it's needed. So that's what you're actually paying for. It's not the 1 hour. It's all of that. And I think
Absolutely.
I think a lot of conference organizers miss that, where it's like, like, I remember I was asked to go to a conference, and it was like a Friday, on the west coast of Canada, and I'm like, okay, well, you're actually not just taking me out Friday, because I got to
Hmm.
fly there, and you're taking a weekend day away from me, which means you're taking, as much as I joke about the, family is the last thing, like, you're taking a weekend day away from me hanging out with my kids.
Mm.
So here's the rate for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And right, and like, and they ultimately they said no, and they're probably thinking like, what the hell? But that's the, you're booking me for 3 days,
But know your worth, know
right?
your value. I think you
That
did
too.
exactly the right thing.
Yeah.
Know your worth, know your value, know the value you can bring, and also know that often clients actually do. It's interesting. I heard there's an author called Chris. Oh, I've forgotten his surname, but he wrote a book called The Accidental Salesperson, which I think is fantastic. And he
Okay.
talks about one of his colleagues in sales. One of the questions, if people are um, having having a conversation like that, is okay. Is this like an availability of money thing, or is this a perception of value thing? Right?
Mm,
Because those are two different things, and you sometimes find that, like, it's not that the client, the client probably has huge budget. It's just they're like, well, I'm not paying that for a speaker.
hmm.
And I think it's really interesting, but I think there is but then I find that if you've got a good client, who's looking for a keynote speaker or whatever, you just quote a rate, and they usually just say yes. I mean, it's maybe that suggests I should raise my rates.
Well, but I mean, I've only been doing this for a few years from a professional standpoint. Prior to that, I was maintaining my amateur status for the speaking Olympics. But and it's Chris Little, by the way. Chris
Oh,
Little.
yes,
I looked
yes.
it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
All good. So, The Accidental Salesperson by Sales Little, Chris Little. Um, I remember I was asked to go to a conference in Iowa, and it was the first time that somebody reached out to me to say, "Hey, would you come to our
Mhm.
conference?" And they were like, "Okay, so what do you charge for a session?" And I was like, "No idea. I've never charged anything," but I don't want to say that out loud. So I come up with a number that to me is the most stupid amount
Yep.
that you would pay for a 1 hour session. And I'm like, $500. Like, oh, can you do 2 sessions? I'm like, I
Mhm.
didn't charge enough.
Mm-hmm.
right? So the next time it was more, and the next time it was more, and the next time it was more, right? If people are agreeing, and this is a basic principle I use, if people are agreeing to your rate too quickly, you're not charging enough, and
Yeah.
that's the signal, right? That it's time to raise.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also it's, it is good to have some no's from time to time.
Mm,
And but but equally, I mean, I don't want to like give the impression that like I'll do stuff for community like
same.
IIBA, like chapter events are different, right? Particularly if they're
Yes.
virtual, that's a different thing. And it's like, well, look, nobody's making any money here, so that's different. That's a different thing.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've gone down a rabbit hole of like speaking
No,
and
it's all good. I mean, you know what? It's still valuable, but like just like I do the same. Like if a chapter leader for IIBA reaches out, I will do it generally, friends and family discount.
yeah.
If it's a corporation, then that is not how we're rolling,
Yeah. So
right? Like,
just to actually, while I think of it, circle back to the comedy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's come back to that.
Another reason. This is not really serious, but at the same time, sort of is. So you and I have had conversations because you studied like political science at university. Is that right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we've had conversations, I'm sure, about how I've had political ambitions in my life.
We have. I mean, not live, but yeah, we have.
Yeah. No, not with the world listening.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, right? Because I have, I've been politically active in my life. My member of parliament MP is probably fed up of hearing my views about things. But that's exercising a democratic right in my view. And I've also got this view that, and this is going to sound really pompous, I don't mean it to, but like actually those of us who have the time, ability, and are able to challenge things should be doing that, because there are people who perhaps are not in a situation to do that because they're too busy, they don't have the means, don't know how to, or perhaps don't have the skills because the system's failed them. And so I feel a civic duty to stand up and to, I've been to like local municipality councils, as we call them here, meetings to stand up for things and the rest of it. And so at the moment, I feel I am more useful outside of the political situation. Outside, there's an expression about a tent, which I'm not going to use, but I'm better outside of the tent than inside of the tent. And but you look at ways of affecting political change in the world, and yes, I could stand for MP, and I mean that thought has crossed my mind. But let's not go there. But another way of affecting political change is to change hearts and minds, or to unify people around something. And actually, a way of doing that is comedy.
Yes.
A way of crystallizing. You can lampoon things and show them for what they are, and that's. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. What the whole writing a comedy act is just, I'm going to write 5 minutes and give it a go and see what it's like. But I do think we are at a point in history where actually the skills you, I, everyone on this live stream have is actually the ability to not just critically think ourselves, which we can, but is to instill that critical thinking amongst others and to challenge the polarization we see by actually creating a space for respect. You talked about respectful disagreement. Creating please don't say that. I mean, do say that, but people say that, and it's.
But he has to move to Portsmouth in order to vote.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just a figurative vote.
But like to create that space for respectful disagreement, because I think that's without wanting to get into geopolitics, I think that's what's missing, and I think the political system is now thriving on it, because actually the divisiveness serves political parties because it creates a delineation, and you have to be either or. And so So yeah, so that was my little soapbox about, and I'm not going to. There are so many political things I could talk about, and I'm going to talk about none of them because
No,
I quite like visiting the US. So
I'm not sure what you're talking about in reference, or what I was referring to.
you cannot lie with a straight face.
I choose not to. But because back to the stone face thing. I went to an off Broadway show where this lady was doing this like one woman show, and it was all about Kurt Cobain dying. And I sat there in the front row for the full hour and a half and just stared at her like this. Everyone around me is laughing, and I'm like, stone face. That's not what. That's not.
The subject matter. Why did you go there?
It was a comedy. Oh, it was a school trip. I didn't pick it.
Shooting himself.
Yeah, it was a school trip. I did not pick it. It was the teachers picked it.
What did you go to?
We're not gonna. I talked about my school the last show. We're not gonna do that again. But I want to come back to this because I don't. We have talked about the political arena. I did run municipally in 2003, so like fresh out of university. I ran as a trustee for one of the school boards. I did finish second, and at the time there was a gentleman running for mayor that really intrigued me, because he came into it with this concept of, we need to stop career politicians. Like, politics, especially at the local level, should be a vocation. It should be something that you do after you're done, like after you've worked, because but in that way, your interests you're better able to serve the interests of the public, because you're less concerned with your own self-interests. You've done your things. It is tricky. I'm just saying, yeah.
No, it's tricky. And haven't you had some wild mayors in Toronto? Wasn't there?
We've had a few. Rob Ford in particular. I mean, Rob Ford was an interesting mayor. He was an interesting mayor.
There's a Netflix show about him, but anyway.
Yes, there is.
So, but so I somewhat agree. The flip side to that is quite often in some UK municipalities or local authorities or councils, as we'll call them, because they're technically not paid roles, it's like an allowance or stipend. You will get, the demographic will be skewed to people who can afford to take on a non-paying role, and that tends to mean that they are, that there is very few people in their 20s, for example.
Right. Yeah.
And I think diversity of age is a good thing. But I hear what you're saying. But it is tricky.
But I guess where I wanted to go with this is, like, one day when I'm done, I probably will pursue something in the political space.
But the other thing that really puts me off is, like, do you really want your entire life under scrutiny all of the time? Right? Like,
no.
Like, do you want everyone you dated to suddenly be talking about, like, particularly if you're in a higher office, do you want everyone you've dated to be able to ring up a newspaper and say, well, do you know what? In 1998, this is what happened.
First of all, I'm a gentleman. So I'm a gentleman and a gentle person. So I would love for that to happen. I would love for that to happen. Like, have at it. So I'm less concerned about my life being under scrutiny than I am about my family's.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, in 15 years, 20 years, when they're older and they're, on their own, that'll be time. Because I think it's interesting. We just saw, the General Assembly at the UN. There was talk of, all of these countries keep, using these fossil fuels, and they're getting rich off of it. And it's like, I
Mhm.
I had this thought that, like, and I'm gesturing intentionally for anybody watching, but I'm not going
Mhm.
to do the voice because
Oh, do the voice, do the voice, do the
because
voice.
I also like going to America. Um, but
That's
but
it. You are straight
uh,
to secondary inspection next time you cross that
right.
border.
But like, the thought that crossed my mind when I heard that was like, everything can't just be financially motivated. Like, money is not going to save you when the planet is burning. And
Absolutely.
so, like, great, they're making money. You're trying to make it a better world. And I think that should, and maybe we're getting very like idealistic here, but like that should be the goal. The making the world a better place. It's not about who dies with the biggest bank account, because you're still dead.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So,
and
so
that's the thing that drives me.
there's a thing in the Scouts, I believe, about always leaving the campsite tidier than when you
It
when you got there, right?
it's a principle of lean.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is leave it better than you found it.
And I kind of, I kind of try and embed that in what I do. And I mean, I'm a great believer, as as I know you are, as many people who I see in the stream are, about community, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I think community is important, but community can mean all sorts of different things. It can mean local community,
Sure.
professional community. It can mean, a community of people with particular characteristics, or whatever. And I'm very purpose driven, and and I don't know. I kind of feel that's going to take me somewhere one day.
Mm.
I genuinely don't know if it's going to take me in that political sense, but who knows? You're going to be mayor of Toronto.
Well, I don't live in Toronto, so I can't be mayor of Toronto.
Oh,
But
sorry. Yes,
yeah,
sorry.
MP, member of parliament would be fine. Even member of provincial parliament would be fine. Um, but
I did
it's
a
to me,
tour. I did a tour of the on my honeymoon. We
okay.
went we went on a tour of the Ontario legislature
Why?
because that's the
Why?
kind of thing I'm interested in.
Did they show you the dinosaur bones that they found in the marble?
I can't remember. I can't
Okay.
remember.
So if you
I
do
know
it,
we had a lovely. We just turned up, right, and there was this guard, and we're like, and it's very different. Like in Canada's very different to other parts of the world because there's this guard, and we're like, oh, we'd heard you do tours. He's like, sure, come in. It was very welcoming, and you wait, and then
that
this
was a
lovely
pretty good
lady.
Canadian accent. That was a good try.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. And this lovely lady was showing us round, and yeah, it was really interesting. I've also not on my or on our honeymoon, but I've also done a tour of the Minnesota State Legislature or whatever it's called,
Excellent.
which I think is in St. Paul from memory.
So, I mean, every school age child gets a tour of the Ontario legislature.
Yeah.
Queen's Park, for those that don't live in Ontario, we call it Queen's Park. Um,
Maybe it's Minneapolis or St. Paul. I can't remember. Anyway, that's not important right now.
Whatever. But I did. So when I was in school, in high school, I went on a lot of trips. So we did one to DC,
Hmm.
where we actually did a tour of the Pentagon. So we did like
Wow.
the underground. Like, I don't think this tour exists anymore,
No.
but we
Yeah.
did the underground, like in the tunnels underneath. And the only thing I remember is, the instruction of, if a door is open and you're caught looking inside, you'll be escorted out. And that was terrifying. Like, just because a door is open doesn't mean you can look in. And like, scared.
Yeah.
Um, but we also did like the tour of the UN when we went to New York. We did
Mm.
did a lot of did a lot of those things that I don't think you can really do anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. being in like the U.S. Capitol and looking at
It's getting
the
dangerous. It's getting
domed. And
political. Careful, careful.
I know but I did it right. Like I was there on a school tour, and that's but yeah, I'm just on your honeymoon. Why would you go to Ontario
This is
legislate?
me.
Hopefully you did some other, like you went to the art gallery or the museum or did some other Toronto stuff.
And like the CN Tower and the
Okay,
aquarium
okay, you did the
and the Casa, the thing that was
Casa Loma.
yeah. Which is in the interior is in the remake of the Rocky Horror Show, apparently.
Okay. I didn't even know there was a remake
of the Rocky Horror Show is awful compared to the original Rocky Horror Show.
Didn't even know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, there we go. Adrian, as promised, we more than filled the hour.
We have.
And I'm conscious of the fact that it is 11 p.m. for you, and I do appreciate you staying up and kicking it with us or with me for the hour, and with all the folks joining. I see Fabricio joined, Stefan, Jen's still here, Indy from Toronto, Steve going back through the list here. They've dominated the last bit of the conversation. But Brienne was here. I saw Brienne. I saw Mindy. So appreciate everyone. Appreciate you joining, and you know that you're welcome back anytime for more serendipitous discussion.
Serendipitous conversations.
Who knows where it's going to go? We just leave it up to the universe and serendipity, and there it is. So, Adrian, thank you very much. We are going to close out. Let me get my. I need to get this set up because apparently.
And remember, hashtag Tina for Toronto.
Let's throw that back up. Hashtag Tina for Toronto. We're going to play it out. Hashtag Tina for Toronto. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. We'll be back next week on Analysts After Work. See ya.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Vince.